The observation deck of the Zenith Dawn hummed with the nervous energy of untested warriors. Elsa stood near the viewport, her reflection ghosting against the backdrop of stars, watching the distant flicker of the enemy fleet. At 23 standard cycles, she was fresh from the Galactic Coalition Academy, her uniform still crisp, her resolve still untarnished by the realities of war. Beside her, an older human leaned against the reinforced glass, his posture deceptively casual. Leo's uniform bore the patches of a dozen campaigns, faded and worn at the edges. His face was a roadmap of conflict. A scar ran from his left eyebrow to his cheek. Another disappeared beneath his collar, and his hands bore the unmistakable marks of burns long healed. "Is this your first battle?" Elsa asked, her voice betraying the tremor she tried to suppress. She'd heard stories about human veterans, about their inexplicable ability to survive where other species fell. Leo turned to her, his gray eyes holding depths that seemed older than his 42 years. A slow smile crossed his weathered face. "Depends which war you mean." Elsa blinked. What? "The Krellian incursion you're heading into?" Leo scratched his jaw thoughtfully. "That'll be my fourth engagement against them. But if you're asking about battles in general..." He held up his hands, beginning to point at various scars as if counting inventory. "There's the resource wars on Mars, that's where I got this one." He indicated the burn marks. "The siege of Proxima Station gave me this." He tapped the facial scar. "The Uthari border conflicts, the Methane Moon Rebellion, the defense of Terra during the Hive Swarm. You fought in all of those?" Elsa's voice rose an octave. She'd studied those conflicts in Academy. They spanned nearly 2 decades, and a few dozen smaller skirmishes that didn't make it into your history databases. Leo added quietly. An insectoid Vrix officer skittered past, its compound eyes regarding Leo with what might have been respect or horror. Elsa couldn't tell with Vrix expressions. The alien gave Leo a wide berth. "How?" Elsa breathed. "The average survival rate for frontline combat is 3 major engagements before catastrophic injury or death," Leo finished. "I'm aware of the statistics. I've watched them compile those numbers." His expression darkened. "I've been the reason they had to update them." The ship shuddered as it dropped from hyperspace. Klaxons began their distant wail, signaling the 30-minute warning before battle stations. Around them, other species began their pre-combat rituals. The Vrix hummed their death songs. The silicon-based Kronar entered meditative states, crystalline bodies dimming. The aquatic Nereids retreated to their hydrosuits. Elsa's hands shook as she checked her plasma rifle for the 7th time. "You're going to wear out the power cell," Leo observed, his own weapon still mag-locked to his back. "Untouched? I need to be ready," Elsa snapped, then immediately regretted her tone. "Sorry, Everyone says the Krellians are vicious, relentless, and they don't take prisoners," Leo completed. "It's all true. They're also predictable, vulnerable to sustained energy fire, and their command structure collapses if you eliminate their alphas." He finally pulled his rifle free, movements economical and precise. "You'll do fine. How can you be so calm?" Elsa demanded. "We're outnumbered 3-1. The fleet analysis shows that we're probably going to lose half our ships before this is over," Leo said, his voice gentle but firm. "I've read the same reports. I've been in worse. How can there be worse?" Leo was silent for a moment, his gaze distant. The defense of Terra. The Hive Swarm came from dark space, millions of bioships, each carrying thousands of warrior drones. We were the last line before Earth. The fleet was decimated in the first hour. We fought them ship to ship, corridor to corridor, with knives when the ammunition ran out, with our bare hands when the knives broke. Elsa stared at him, horror and awe mingling in her expression. "We held for 16 days. Leo continued softly, "long enough for the antimatter specialist to weaponize Sol Station's reactor core. When it detonated, it took out their queenship and 70% of their fleet. The rest fled." He touched another scar, this one hidden beneath his sleeve. "I was on Sol Station. Made it to an escape pod 4 minutes before detonation. Spent 3 days in deep space before rescue, suit failing, oxygen at 2%. "That's impossible," Elsa whispered. "No one survives 3 days on 2% oxygen. Humans are very stubborn about dying," Leo replied, something like dark humor in his voice. "It's our most irritating quality, according to the Galactic Council." The 10-minute klaxon sounded. Officers barked orders in a dozen languages and communication spectrums. The ship's artificial gravity adjusted for combat maneuvering. "Why do you keep fighting?" Elsa asked suddenly. "After everything you've survived, all those scars, you could retire, take a desk position, train recruits from safety." Leo checked his ammunition, loaded his rifle with practiced ease. "Because every war I fight means kids like you have one less war to face. Because humans are good at one thing above all others. We endure. We adapt, we survive, and we make damn sure the next generation has a chance to do more than just survive." He turned to face her fully, and Elsa saw something in his eyes she hadn't noticed before, not weariness or trauma, though those were present. It was determination, forged and reforged through countless fires. "This isn't your first battle, Elsa," Leo said, reading her name from her uniform. "It's your first space battle. But you've been fighting since the day you decided to stand between your home and those who'd harm it. That fight? That started long before you reached this ship." The final klaxon sounded. Battle stations. The viewport showed the Krellian fleet deploying, dark shapes against the stars. "Stay behind the Vrick shock troops initially," Leo advised, his voice shifting to combat efficiency. "They'll absorb the first wave. Aim for the neural clusters at the base of Krellian necks. 2 shots, center mass, then move. Never stay stationary longer than 5 seconds. And Elsa?" She looked at him, fear and determination warring in her young face. "You're going to survive this," Leo said with absolute certainty, "because I'll make sure you do. That's what veterans are for, making sure there's a next generation of veterans." As they moved toward their deployment stations, Elsa realized she'd stopped shaking. Walking beside Leo, surrounded by his quiet confidence and battle-earned wisdom, she understood something the Academy had never taught her. Humans didn't just survive wars. They carried others through them, and that, more than any weapon or strategy, was what made them truly formidable.